Oh, right now.
Hello.
Okay.
Wow.
Hello. Okay. How are we gonna start this?
I guess maybe just explaining Jester.
Explaining Jester?
No,
There's no way to
explaining.
explain me.
No, just explaining like why we're ending the campaign and whatnot.
We're ending it because no one likes McCabe.
No.
Yeah, that's true. I actually hated it, in fact.
My heart. I guess I will be the one saying it. We're ending it because everyone
Hold on.
hates McCabe. What?
Sorry, I'm looking at users in chat, right? And it just shows like the past users that came in. One of the users was Hot Local Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's it called? We're ending the session. We're ending the game, the world, or whatever, because everyone wants, like, including me, everyone wants to do the new game I've been working on, the new world, Zenobia. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think everyone's excited to start new characters and explore a new world, and I'm excited to try to do better as a DM. And yeah.
And we should explain that this is not at all because we don't like the current campaign. This is just because that we are excited new. Because this is something that you've had for a long time, right, Justin?
Yeah, I've been working on it for a while.
I think you said that this was like the first campaign you ever made.
Yes, this campaign I made. I don't even know. I wonder if my wife is awake. Bye bye. When was it? I started making the first world ever.
3 years
When
ago?
did I get to D&D?
I would have guessed.
3 4 years.
Ooh, that's right.
3 or 4 years, yeah. 3 or 4 years ago, I made the world and kind of just like, okay, multiple locations, and it was just very not that well put together, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There's a lot of empty spaces, a lot of questions that are just there, and I don't know what to do with them. First map ever. I don't know if you guys remember what it looked like before, but this is what it looked like the first time I drew it out.
Yeah.
So that's what it looks like when I first did it, and this is the actual map that my original players or my friends Alex, Andrew, and Margaret played on, and I had this idea where they like where if I started to have other players, they would play in a different location. And I didn't really register to me how big these worlds are supposed to be. I don't know. I mean, it's my world. I can make them how big as I want. But anyway, they started out actually in Promise, if I remember correctly, and that's where they kind of developed some of the characters I had and some of the people that they ran into, specifically Pavel, Ezra Fang and his father, the Fangs, yeah, pretty much, and the Artificers, which this is before the Artificer class was a thing. And yeah, and then I kind of had the idea. I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool if this was like a few years later or whatever. And then that's when you guys, wanted to play. And I was like, okay, it's a few years later or years later, and Avalon. And I had stuff written out for Avalon, a little bit of stuff for Avalon and Onyx and Ubethan and everything. And so I was just like, okay, yeah, I got a few characters made and everything like that, and yeah, that's pretty much where it left off. So this was actually like, I would say about 20 years from. But yeah, like I said, there's a lot of stuff I didn't like. It didn't register in my head where it's like, okay, but what if this? what does this do? Like, like a lot of loopholes basically. And I was like, I don't know.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
but yeah, so that's where I'm trying to like. I mean, I'm not going to be able to fix all of it, but I'm trying to fix most of the loopholes and try to get some answers. If you guys wanted to.
hmm
But yeah, that's pretty much it. Um,
And then I guess we're just starting the new campaign to like, cause you fleshed out this world I think a lot more, the new one, Jester.
yes, I would hope so. I'm hoping that with more stuff, like at least the lore. Like I think the DMing, like in my opinion, I'm an okay DM. I like to like have fun and just make sure you guys are having fun. And there is stuff I wish I would know more of. Like
Uh-huh.
I wish I knew more of the rules and more of like the spell casting times and all that. But I know that that's like stuff I'm not going to be able to like get right away. So that I know that's like stuff I need to like just I learned over time. But at least some of the basic stuffs and all that. Um, but um, I do want to have like just a different. It's gonna be. I am hoping it's a little bit different. Uh, but I do know that like at least most of the lore in this was just I never touched it. Like I was like, okay, this is the lore. I'm not gonna touch any of this just for now because during the time I was actually making this new one
hmm
and just like kind of like working on it, and I was also playing D&D with my other friends, and so I had them in a temporary world, Thera, and that one wasn't really developed or anything. It was just more like, okay, here's a city, guy needs help, go to the Underdark, and basically that. And then you guys wanted to play, and funny enough, I want you guys to be the first ones to play in Zenobia, but I didn't have a lot ready, so I was like, you know what? Let me work on this for a little bit. I already have this pre-made world. I have most of the lore. I have some sort of like missions, and I'll just kind of go around with what your guys' characters are. You know
hmm
what your guys' characters are, and so yeah. So I instead of putting you guys directly into Zenobia, I put you guys in my old map or my old campaign. So yeah,
That makes sense. And part of that allows you to get to know our playstyles, get to adjust to that, right?
So I definitely I've gotten comfortable with you guys, and we play around and everything, and so yeah, I know that um, it's you guys don't take it too seriously, and I don't have to stress on that. And I can mess up, and
Yeah, why
still
the
have.
fuck didn't you remind me? I had to roll concentration. Fucking retard.
Why didn't you remember, fucking wizard?
Yeah, it's your job to
You see
remember
how many
your
things I
spells.
have to keep in check?
You're saying that to the
To the
DM, my
DM.
dude.
Wait a second. Wait a second.
Yeah, like stuff like that. I was like, I remember when I first started playing with you guys, and I was like, okay, let's just try to remember. And every time you guys are like, well, doesn't that mean you have to make Constitution saving throw? I'm like, oh yeah. And I was like, ah, fuck. But I
We
mean,
are like so chill about it, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ryan's kind of an asshole.
I
Yeah,
mean,
fuck
well,
you.
yeah, Ryle is the general.
I have a right to be an asshole. After all, I play with his balls like Fushigi.
Stop, stop.
And demonetized.
We
Fushigi.
were never monetized to begin with.
Oh, this is true. This is true.
But yeah, so a lot of questions. I'm assuming about
The lore.
people and or I guess. Um,
I'm gonna start with a big one.
well, actually, I wanted to leave it for last and talk about y'all's characters.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Okay, so let's go off of let's go with the unclaimed
All right.
Tony or Zach.
Did I
What's
say Thatch? Hello?
Zach, but Satch.
what's his deal? What makes him tick?
um,
Yes,
I'm looking at this backstory. Do y'all just want me to read the backstory,
sure.
Sure.
or should I get less detail. I'm just going to read the backstory because
That's what I'm
it
pulling
was a
up right
fun
now.
one. So here we go. They call me the Unclaimed. This is a fair name, a truthful name. I was never raised by humans. I was abandoned by my parents before I had any memories to recall them. Left in the woods to die. I was discovered by a pack of wolves, so Aurelian had it correct. Typically, this would mean death for a human infant. However, this particular pack was led by Sheila Ime. She took me in and raised me as one of her own pups. And so for years I grew up in the wilderness, living with my wolf brothers and sisters, unaware of the world that I truly came from. Sheila Ime was the pack leader and well respected. She had shimmering white fur and seemed to emit light and left shining paw prints where she walked. She was our pride and our salvation. From her, the pack had greater sense of awareness. We were able to hunt and survive with great advantage. She taught me everything I knew. I was too young and inexperienced to realize that the wolf was more than an ordinary wolf. After many years of happy innocence, disaster struck. None of us saw the trap until it was too late. I stepped in it and experienced the most pain I have ever felt in my life. Screaming with it, I attempted to escape from this confounding metal device I had never seen. My brothers scattered in fear from me. This torture as I twisted and tore at my ensnared limb, worsening the effect. I could hear crashing through the nearby bushes and grew fearful of what was coming. It was, of course, the hunters, thinking they had finally caught some food. Lone trap. I could only imagine their confusion when they finally pushed their way through the trap to find a small boy instead of a bear. As for me, I was shocked to see creatures that looked similar to how I did. However, in my painful and frightened state, my main goal was to escape from them, not to talk to them. They started to approach me at a slower pace, muttering words I didn't understand. Just when I was about to faint from panic and fear, Sheila Ime arrived in her white fur and teeth. The hunters wheeled in shock and awe at this beautiful beast. She turned her attention to me and, using her mouth, was able to help me extract my mangled leg from the jaws of the trap. As she made contact with the metal, her mouth hissed and burning her sacred skin. By then, the hunters had recovered themselves, and one fired a crossbow at my mother. It hit her in the left shoulder, and she fell heavily, her skin smoldering at the iron arrowhead.
Oh,
I'd seen her
Faye.
fall.
Faye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'd seen her fall. I lost control. I don't know what I did, but the next thing I knew, the hunters were dead and unrecognizable. I crawled to my adoptive mother, and in her dying pants, she told me everything. She was a fey beast who had been sent to guard me by my father. My mother abandoned me on the road once she realized who my father was and what I would become. She didn't have the time to explain who my father was, but gave me her blessing and sent me to find him. Using the last of her strength, she fashioned me a weapon to concentrate my energy, made from the trunk of a nearby birch and a geode lying in a nearby river. Finally, as she lay dying in my arms, she told me to bring her with me, so that the blessing of the Fae will remain with me. Thus the life of Sheila Ime faded, and so I began my journey. I slung my mother up my shoulders and struggled to walk my maimed, leaning heavily on my staff. As the days went by, she became lighter and lighter until she was only a beautiful pelt coat upon my shoulders, continuing to keep me safe and warm, even in her death.
That's so sad.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So that's why the pelt is like involved in all my magic casting because it's Sheila Inu's. So yeah.
Very nice.
And then as far as the one encounter I had in the woods, I left you all. In game, I said that was and that was a lie. In truth, I had been seeing visions of a dark, and I saw him there that night, and I followed him.
Ryle is not here.
Ryle's not here.
Ryle's
There
not
he
here.
is. What happened to
I
Ryle?
didn't mean to do that. I'm deleting pinned messages and I accidentally pressed start video call.
Nice. So in the episode where I disappeared off into the woods, I followed a dark, and I took some notes on it. It's very not nearly as well written as I just read. So it was in the forest of Avalon. The wolf approached. I followed it into the forest. The wolf seemed to be in a hurry. It led to a dark forest, and there were 3 other wolves. The wolf told me I have been away from the wilds for 2 years. Then he transformed into a man of average height, 5'10", wearing dark fur pelt and leather boots, thick beard and messy hair with dark skin and a serious stare. He was very animal-like and walked more like a wolf than a man. He pulled out a bone dagger with a rigid edge. He said he is a guardian sent by Shilaime, and he used the blade to cut deep into his hand. He told me to drink the blood.
Oh.
And so I did. And so my vision got wonky. I collapsed onto the ground. I woke up in the same place with it still night, and my magic wasn't working. And then I looked up and saw a light in the distance, flickering on and off. And it was fireflies. So I find a path between 2 arched trees with lots of paw prints, footprints, and I followed the path of wolf prints. And as I stepped into the forest with the fireflies, all suddenly went off, and my eyes adjust, and I see miles of forest in the clearing was originally, and where I disappeared, I could see further than normal. I found some ruined stairways and pillars, no more forest, and then I started tripping out, unable to climb the stairs. I see Shilaime, but I'm unable to reach her. I wake up and find the dark wolf above me. He said he would find me and bring me back when it was time. And his name was Azragar. And yeah, from that I gained my keen sight and feet. So I was able to roll with advantage on all perception.
Nice.
But it was a little weird. So
I was gonna say, do you guys want to like go one by one and like, or do you want to just like everyone talks about their backstory and then we get into the questions about characters and everything, or do you want to do it like Tony questions and then all that and then ellipsis?
let's hear the other backstories and then do it all later after. How about that?
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's just me and Ari, which we're basically the same.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. If you guys want to.
Michelle can go first with her side of the backstory, and I can go mine with my side.
Okay. My twin brother, Aurelion, and I grew up in the small town of only 200 people in Ubethan in the desert wastelands. Our father, Xander, was the village doctor, and our mother, Alexis, was his assistant. One day, early in my mother's pregnancy, a divine light blessed our mother's womb with celestial light. It was Eldath's blessing in an attempt of redemption for breaking her domain, as Eldath was the goddess or god of something.
Goddess of nature, I think, or beauty.
Of beauty, yeah. And she can't remember what she did, but she broke her domain, and that's why Ubethan's like a wasteland. So she was like, "Hey, help me." And so we were born as fallen Asmar, which was due to Eldath's shattered domain. As we were growing up, Eldath sent us dreams to tell us about our divine quest to find the 7 deadly sins to try to restore Ubethan to the paradise it once was. Our parents told us to wait until we were around 20 to begin traveling around the world because at that time we were still young. So as we were growing up, I had shown a gift for healing. So I helped my parents with their work while Aurelion was a gifted magical scholar, quote unquote. So he was sent to a wizarding school far away when he was 16 to learn more about magic. So he was gone for long periods of time and only visited every once in a while. Um, so one day when we were 19 and Aurelion was away studying, a villager saw an unknown, strange looking beast far off in the distance while scouting for water. A day later, he fell ill with a deadly disease, one that caused his body to age exponentially and turn to dust within the day of these symptoms appearing. Our parents tried to help him, but they couldn't find out what caused it, and more of the townsfolk began to fall ill. I tried to help my parents with their work at the beginning of the outbreak, but they soon made me stay away for fear of me contracting it after finding out that it was a necrotic disease. A few days after that, my parents also fell ill, and I tried to take care of them, but nothing I did helped. So they also started to fade away to dust. And as a final attempt before they fully disappeared, they casted Magic Jar. So their souls were contained in a chest in our home, which is the chest we carried around. Or that was like the chest in Aurelion's room. I can't remember if we moved it.
That's the one that she carried around.
Yeah. So I collapsed to the floor. Oh wait, no. As the dust dissipated, I could see that my hands were starting to turn a necrotic black, and my vision went black, and I collapsed. Aurelion happened to be visiting home that day and came back to find no villagers whatsoever. Like, it was just empty. All the buildings were empty. And he,
Basically, the Uchiha clan.
well, no, the Uchiha clan had a bunch of bodies around.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Yeah. These villagers just turned to dust. So he went to our home, found me barely alive and unconscious on the ground, and he reasoned that I was only able to survive because of the celestial resistance to necrotic damage as an Asmar.
Mm.
So then I told him what happened to the village, and we went over to the chest. Our parents' souls appeared to be dormant, as the casting of the spell seemed to drain out the last of their energy. So we were like, okay, fuck Eldath's quest. We're gonna go find a way to fix our parents. So, yeah, we both started studying like necromancy, in hopes of like figuring out a way to revive them. And I started worshiping the god Ouijas, the goddess of death. So I'm a death cleric because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And we kept trying to do research, but there wasn't a lot of resources about magic, so we went to Avalon. So yeah, when we got to Avalon, we weren't natural citizens, so I was asked to aid in military services, and Aurelion went to work in a library.
So y'all's town got dusted Thanos style?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Are
But
you
it
done,
was,
Michelle?
yeah, but it was it was all of the villagers instead of just half.
Hmm.
But yeah, so that's how I had some military background, and Aurelion was in a library. Yeah, that
Interesting.
was my son.
Is it my side?
Yes.
My turn? Okay. I don't remember when I wrote this. Okay. So, born in a small town in the wild lands of Ubethan deserts, my sister Erolipsis and I were the biological children of two humans, Xandar and Alexis Ravinac. However, from the moment of our conception, we were blessed with the light of Eldath, to have the destiny of restoring the gods' shattered domain, and thus we were born as fallen Azamar. Growing up in the small village of 200 people, I discovered that I had an affinity to the arcane arts. And with the help of my parents, who were accomplished who were accomplished magic users on their part, I learned to develop and hone my abilities. As I grew older, we realized that self-study would only hinder my development in the future, and so my parents decided to send me to the Strunera School of Magic, a minor wizard school a few weeks' travel from our hometown when I was 16. All the while, I had left my sister, who received dreams from Eldath to find lost artifacts called the Seven Deadly Sins to restore the beautiful paradise that Ubethan once was, to pursue my ambitions for the arcane.
Yeah, you fucking
After
left me, you
three
asshole.
After 3 years of relentless studies and practice, I returned to my hometown to visit my family and wished to show off my new abilities. Yet, I was met with the sight of my sister closing in on death's door and an empty village. After tending to her ailment, which I still do not know the cause or treatment, she gradually recovered after some days and told me about the events that transpired while I was away. A necrotic and potent disease suddenly plagued the town, starting from one person and spreading to another through direct contact. Since our parents were the doctors of the town, they tried their best to save people. But even with their abilities, the disease ran rampant through the town, exponentially decaying the victim's body until nothing was left but dust. The town was quickly decimated within a day, and my sister was only lucky to survive because of her celestial resistance. She also reassured me that her parents could possibly be revived after they casted the spell magic jar upon an empty chest in the house, which is now carried by Erelipsis. Despite Eldath's gift of life for us, we decided to abandon our quest for the seven deadly sins temporarily, as we search for ways to resurrect our parents and their bodies. In my obsession to restore our parents, I suggested to Erelipsis that we travel to Avalon and learn the secret of magic there, since the country was the magical center of the world. Upon reaching Avalon, and after all the paperwork for our magic license, we were placed in military service due to our immigrant status. Erelipsis was stationed to the front lines to heal the wounded with her clerical powers, and I joined a scholar's cloister to study necromancy. Avalon may have strict laws on the uses of magic, but this country's contradiction will not prevent me from learning necromancy's deepest secrets to restore our parents and discover the source of the disease.
Mm.
That
And
was
see,
much more dramatic.
I guess.
he had strong
I,
feelings.
True. Oh yeah,
you're
and I
making me
met.
a better writer than you, God.
That's very true. I think it was also. So while I was on the military front, that's where I met Corporal Pan. Um, she was the half elf that we saw in the underground.
The pit.
The pit. Thank you. Yeah, she was the one I met.
I see.
And also I was sort of like protective of the unclaimed because he reminded me of Private Aaron. Um, he was
Yeah.
he was like really young, kind of a kid. Um, yeah, and then he died.
Just like the unclaimed.
So that's why I was like, oh.
All right.
Man.
Alrighty. So those are the backstories, backgrounds, and all that. We can all start ramming Remy with questions about Tony, and then after that, you can talk to me about what I had plans or whatever or questions. So about Tony,
Why is he gay?
why is he gay? Why is he gay, Tony?
I'm pretty sure he's not considered what he is. So I don't think that's a proper.
Why?
I mean, I think your backstory kind of explains a lot of it. I think.
Yeah,
What sort of questions did you have?
Aurelion. Aurelion guessed right.
Yeah. I mean, especially after saying like you were raised by wolves. Because I mean, you could speak to Cinder and whatnot. So I mean, I was like, okay, you know.
I know for a while you were playing with the idea of me being a werewolf.
Yeah, I was like,
Idea.
I mean, Aurelion's read about werewolves.
Yeah, I do take damage from normal weapons. So.
Yeah, so that's why for a while he was like, we really have this guy around.
Funny enough that the people who were trying to like who said there were protectors or what did you say? It was there.
I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry. Oh, the wolves.
Yeah, the guardians. They said they were guardians of the for what's her name? Yeah.
Cool.
There was going to be like a whole thing, like little by little, they were going to kind of like test you a little bit more and kind of push you into being more animalistic to train you to be like a werewolf almost.
Mm-hmm.
And I was
That's
going to
kind
have,
of what I was figuring.
and I was giving you multiple options, so you could have been a werebear, a werewolf, all these other ones with some sort of stuff. So it would have been like, you know, your smell and sight heightens a little bit, and then now you can do more of like this is before this. It's funny because this is before one of those creatures that can turn. I forgot the race, but they can turn into part animals. I forget.
Hybrid.
Yeah. So you could have been able to do that, you know, get more strength up or whatever, and then you would have been able to turn a werewolf. And it would have been
That would have been cool.
Would have been interesting to see the path you would have taken. And yeah,
Remy, you sound tired. Are you okay?
I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm being quiet, so I can cope.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Just like, because it's been a while since I've read this. My character description, I have a stark white hair, black streak in it. The reason for that was one, I was thinking the black streak or the white hair. One
was
of
that
the
when you
two
were
could
drinking? Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
What?
I said, was that when you were drinking the thing's blood? Did he change your genetic composition?
No, my hair was always that way.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, but one of the reasons I was thinking that could be a tie back to my father could have a trait. But also I was thinking whenever, because I was toying with the idea of multi-class character, the druid.
Oh, gotcha.
And it would have been a circle moon druid.
That makes sense.
And one of the things I was thinking about is I had a really cool idea for transforming tool. You know, taking a true form, or in the case of a situation, where the inverse would happen, where the white hair with the black streak, as I turn into it, the black streak expands out.
Ooh.
And so I become a black white streak.
Interesting.
So that was
Nice.
the idea for that. And then the limp, obviously, from bear trap that I got stuck in.
Yeah.
If I ever showed you my leg, you would have seen
Mm-hmm.
very pretty sight.
Ugh.
It's pretty bad.
I don't imagine that was healed properly either.
No.
Just like walk
Obviously,
it off.
the wolf pelt I wear is she let you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it.
Oh, I would just like to point out that Aurelion didn't actually not like the Unclaimed. He found him annoying at first and didn't trust him. But then eventually, after I think when the Unclaimed brought Aerolipsis back, Aurelion started trusting him, and that's why he even prepared the spell life transference for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I never got to use it.
No, because you were like, oh, let me go fucking recharge that devil, even though it was clearly running away from us.
No, but too bad I never got to use life transference.
Yeah.
'Cause
Alrighty.
honestly, he would have used it for either both of you. And just to note about life transference is that I take 48 necrotic damage, and then
Oh my God.
all those hit points get doubled, and that's what the other person that I touch
Oh,
heals.
it's doubled.
Yeah, it's doubled.
Okay, I was like, that's gonna be an asshole move if it's only halved.
No, but it's basically like a better cure wounds just for the burst heal.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Too bad.
Nice.
I never got to use that.
Alrighty. Um, what was I gonna say?
You were gonna tell me about what the fuck is up with Rose Lockhart.
She is just a bored girl. She's very bored of like the lifestyle and everything, and that's why she found you so interesting. Just the that you go out adventuring and I don't know, just found you very interesting and wanted to get to
I
know you more.
let me do something real quick. 18. Okay, so within 18, can I eventually marry her?
um, it was funny enough that hang on, I would have had you like talk to her a little bit more, and then got to got to do that whole yeah, oh, you can talk to my father first or whatever kind of thing, and that would have been fun to do. Um, I don't know, and I think she would have definitely. I think she would have definitely would have been with you if you would have asked. She just would have. She just been asking questions like, "Oh, why? Why so interested? Is it just for my looks, or what?"
No, I honestly thought that there was something else about her.
No,
That she was gonna be like
evil.
no, she has the bored girl impression, the first impression, but in actuality she's like next in line for the throne or some shit like that.
Oh no, she's just pretty high in power. Not pretty high in power. Like her father was. I forgot.
Damn.
Uh,
You know what I was going to do if I ever did get to the part 2 meet her father? I would have done animate dead and dressed up my animate dead to be like my bodyguard so I looked more important than what I actually was. You know?
Nice.
Oh yeah,
Like walking through town, you know? Like clean them up so that they don't smell.
Yeah.
That would have been
They're
important.
they're
Put some
they're not they're
perfume.
not corpses. They're not corpses. They're skeletons. So
Oh
there's not much smell to them. But
yeah, that would
they're dressed up so that, you know,
that
they're in
that would have caused
full
you some trouble too,
yeah,
going up.
no, but they're like in full armor, so you don't know that they're skeletons.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I get you.
Yeah, like bodyguards, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Except
So
bodyguards in this time were like knights.
yeah, there's no rotten smell because they're skeletons. Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I would have done.
that's funny. Um, but yeah, no, she was just a bored rich girl in a sense. It
Damn.
just it just took very interest in you.
I'll just make it canon in my head that I get to marry her.
After some time. um,
I have a question, Jester.
yes.
Who's my dad?
Who's your dad?
The smiling man.
Me. the smiling man all along.
That's how come he was able to talk to your language. No.
Is he the mysterious greatsword man?
Oh yeah.
Do you think so?
That's
that
what I
guy was, like,
originally thought.
pale as fuck.
Funny enough that if you would have been interested into knowing more about your dad, it would have been. I honestly never really thought much about it, but because
Ouch.
I didn't think you were interested in that. I was like, okay, well,
Isn't that
I
its
don't know.
whole purpose is to find his dad?
It was kind of my purpose, yeah. I guess I didn't roleplay it out. My B.
Yeah, I think it was more like I don't know. You know, no, I think I did had something. I had all my notes on the fucking Roll20,
Oh,
but I know I had a lot of notes on it. I just don't remember it.
That's
But-
all good.
it's okay, Remy. I have notes about your dad in my
What?
campaign, not your actual dad.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say.
No.
I'm trying to remember.
Michelle, you and I need to have a talk.
Huh?
You can't just keep notes of my dad.
That's my job as the DM. Your in-game dad, not your actual dad. That's so weird.
It's bothering me because I remember writing stuff out. I just don't remember what it was.
Oh.
Maybe it'll come back to me. I don't know.
Okay, it's all good.
I don't know. Next question.
Smiling man.
Next question.
Oh.
Oh my god.
Do you
So,
guys really
Michelle-
want to know about the Smiling Man?
Yeah.
Misha.
What are y'all's thoughts? What do you guys think? Who he is or what he is?
I honestly have no idea. Probably.
I think he's someone who's after the seven sins for himself.
Oh yeah, especially after like he was like, "Oh yeah, you can give it to me for safekeeping or some shit." I was like, "Oh, that's kind of sus."
I suspect he is either a deity or a minor avatar. I'm not sure.
Ryle,
Hmm.
what do you think the Smiling Man is?
Um.
Are you still thinking about Rose?
Just the underground ruler
Hmm.
of the underbelly.
You're not far off.
Who?
Funny, Ryle.
Oh.
He's not someone too special. Don't think of him as a deity or something like that. He just has his connections as being as the underground belly, the underbelly ruler of Avalon. He may be able to go against the faceless court, but I doubt it, honestly.
Okay,
He's just trying to make ends meet. That's what I think.
so this kind of goes into like a big spider web of stuff because my lore was weird when I made it. But so here it is. The Smiling Man, also known as Zeke Harper. Zeke Harper was just the regular guy, underground, like you said, underground belly kind of thing, where he was more of
Wait,
just
his
like
name is Zeke Harper.
yes,
Oh.
humanoid or human. And he was more of just a gangster kind of guy, just more interested in the lore and um, backstories of everyone, and always kept a tab on everyone, and never really outreached out of Avalon. Was more interested in more interested in the people who came into town, and stuff like that. Wasn't a big deal. Actually, was originally from Green Nest, from the small town below. and was a very small town guy. He still wore the mask and the suit and all that, but that was 20 years ago. Suddenly, in between the years, he disappeared and was now found in Esmil, which is the city floating above. The the lore here is I'm trying to like see how which one sounds cool, but I don't know. Anyway, but the faceless court is actually the smiling man. The
I had a guess for that.
the original smiling man, the OG smiling man, was put up, imprisoned or killed off. I hadn't decided yet. And they used him to kind of outstretch their more of like a unlawful kind of rule over. So whenever they couldn't do stuff that was, you know, legal, they would have used a smiling man, and that's why people feared him because he didn't seem like he had like anyone kind of holding him back.
So is he the entire entity of the Faceless Court?
The faceless court is actually one person, a spellcaster. I didn't really think much on it because I didn't. It was far off of what you guys were. The end game was the faceless court. Uh, in my world, in this world, remember, this was my first one, so bear with me. You know the weave, right? The magic weave.
Like magic?
Yeah, where people kind of gather their magic, and that's how they're able to do spells.
Sure.
Do you know what I'm talking about, Rao?
Sorry, what?
Do you know what I'm
What are
talking
you
about?
doing?
I'm kind of listening.
Do you
But
know? Do you know about the magic weave?
yes.
Okay, so basically, the gods have like a kind of like unlimited amount of like magic source, and that's where people kind of use it to cast magic.
That's not
And
the lore on it, but sure, if it's
well,
the
you
lore
know,
on it.
well, what's the lore on it? Original lore.
The lore on it, if I remember correctly, was that there was a god who ruled the magic weave.
Mistra, I believe. No, Mistra is the other one. It's like the one
Yeah,
up.
yeah. But the magic weave was always like a force all around us. So think of it as like the air that we breathe.
Yeah,
And then, of course, whenever you use up magic, there's always things that'll come back to it.
my
There's that equivalent exchange in the magic weave.
my thing was was that magic was depleting. Just
Mm-hmm.
generally, everything was slowly like just just think of magic as water and the bowl is like almost done kind of thing. And my idea was that the faceless court took notice of this and decided to originally wanted to keep Avalon the magical place as it was, and so they started to uh, use magical items and actual magical items to replenish it. Kind of like reduce it, basically getting the magic items and sucking the magic out and refilling the thing for their people, and that's what originally what they wanted to do. But one person wanted to kind of like if magic is going to deplete and however many people use magic, that's why they put a ban on magic in this place. And what's it called? And also later on, they decided to start uh, basically capturing magic users and sucking their life force and their magic out as well.
Yeah.
And so, and then that person, Faceless Court, the person who is evil, I guess you can say, took over and decided to just keep playing it out. They took over the Smiling Man, and they started the war on Onyx because they heard of artifacts. Um, well, actually, the first thing they did was um, they put like a poison in the air in Ubethan to kill off the people to look for the artifacts and go through their magical items and all that. So your family's dead because of the Faceless Court.
Well,
Wonderful.
And what's it called? Originally, they didn't want anything to do with Onyx, and people were just living there. But they made an excuse that Onyx was rebelling, and they didn't want to. Basically, oh, they're bad. Let's go after them. And so they started the war, and decided to just kind of like sweep them out. And Aerolipsis, you would have known, that it was pretty easy taking them out, but there was a lot of time when a lot of the soldiers were just stationed around locations, um, and had any survivors start like going through ruins, going through the places and everything, and everything like that. You didn't really think much of it, and also especially because you were mostly pushed to the front lines.
I was mainly just taking care of the injured. So.
Yeah. So some artifacts, and another reason why they look for artifacts is because it has more power, more magic. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the lore of that.
What about the demons that the succubus and the other guy that took Aurelion's eye and gave him a new one?
Those were just traders. Traders of the Underdark, or not Underdark, the Nine Hells.
Yep.
One was a succubus, and one was actually a vampire.
They just wanted to cause
Mischief.
chaos.
Oh, gotcha.
So
Aurelion realized, that they're not part of the Smiling Man, or he guessed it.
They're just business
They're
people.
they're there.
yeah,
Yeah, he trusted them, and when they said that they were just traders, anything for power, really.
yeah, but yeah, overall, you would have actually been drafted back into the war, and you would have been actually pushed to Onyx, and then I would have kind of left a breadcrumbs of clues about what's the point of the war, or why are the people going through all their stuff, and then so on and so forth, and how much the sins are very chaotic, manipulating and everything. And then it would have been pushed to the city, and then you guys would have faced off against the Smiling Man, and then you would have been realizing, oh, it's the Faceless Court, and then there you go. It's the end game.
Cool.
Who was the guy who attacked us in the pit?
Nazir.
My dad.
Your dad's an asshole.
Nazir, and also here's how far the reach was. The Smiling Man, or the Faceless Court, actually made, what was it? The no, it's not the artificers in Promise to push and try to find artifacts in Promise. So those guys that you basically one-shotted, those were people from Promise, and they were run by Ezra Fang and Bernard Fang, or Bennett Fang, I forget.
I think it was Bennett thing.
Yeah, those were actually Yanti,
Oh.
Naughty
Ooh.
folks.
Wee.
And it was funny because there would have been a time where
Just go into the mountains. Nice.
Ryle.
Wait,
What
I
the
didn't
fuck?
press any. I didn't press anything. I don't know why that happened. I didn't press anything.
the
What was that?
I don't know. You're weird, dude.
The
Uh,
hell?
what's it called? And there would have been a time where you would have actually met Pavel and his wife and helped him with that was gonna be another clue that you're gonna help him with the artificers and find out that they were working with Ezra Fang, or they were run by Ezra Fang and Bennett Fang, and it would have led back into Avalon.
Gotcha.
Yeah, hold on. What the fuck?
It's all connected.
The thing, my shortcut for it is left control delete. I only went on my mouse pad, and I wasn't even on voice. What the fuck?
I don't know. Jester.
Oh, yes.
Oh, sorry, were you gonna say something?
Oh, I was gonna say that the Nazir, which was the changeling with the
Oh,
big old
this
great sword.
asshole.
um, no, the first time you guys met him, and I don't remember who it was because it was our first game too. But when he made eye contact, he would have just later on changed like you guys. So I think he
Oh
made
no.
eye contact with Ellipsis,
I think so.
so he would have changed into you later on, and that would have been like, oh look, it looks like you has the same armor, same sword. Uh, he was actually part of the contractors, which are people who are an organization that manipulate and brainwash people into like zombies. Like they will,
What?
whoever holds their contract is their master. They follow any orders, even until they don't. It's just to their death. They would fight for them if they told them to. Even fight against their family, kill anyone, and there's been and they've gone through a lot of people to do that. Ezra Fang, or not Ezra, Nazir is one of the few that hasn't gone completely insane over it. And and then I forgot his name. I think his name is Barf. Is one of the few that has gone insane because of it, which was the Goblinoid.
Yeah.
That I pissed off.
Yeah. So they were part of the contractors, and that would have led you to the organization. Then you would have found out that the organization was founded or by a person from Avalon. It would have gone back to Avalon. I was like, oh, there's a lot of people here. What's going on here? And yeah, so he was yeah, he was just following orders. And also, if he would have gone control of his contract, he would have been a loyal person, and or
Interesting.
anyone else. But he was the normal one.
Yeah. Another question. The flame mace in Bernard's place, was that a sin?
No,
Okay.
that was just part of their story, their
Gotcha.
adventures. That was his weapon of choice.
Gotcha. And then the tree in the backyard?
Oh, the tree. That was just kind of like their, not a companion, but someone they met. Like basically, their story was that they helped out this these tree. What are they called? Trents.
Treants,
Trents.
maybe?
Trents.
Trent.
Trents. They helped a group of Trents uh, against these bandits that were trying to chop them down to make like a base of operations. They helped him out. They felt grateful, and he decided to be like a sort of like guardian to him,
Oh.
as long as he kept a beautiful view of the location. Him, Bernard, and I forgot the wife's name. um, they kept the yard clean. They kept everything beautiful, and the Trent stayed there. And then when Bernard's wife died, he just lost it. He just didn't do anything anymore,
Mm-hmm.
and that's
Poor
why the
man.
Trent left and was like, "If you're not gonna take care of the place, I know you just don't care anymore."
Damn.
That's harsh.
And then he threw a rock at me.
Yeah, you're lucky that's all he threw.
We should have
Yeah.
ended his misery. One more for my stock of animate dead.
Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
god. Um,
But yeah, so
were the wolves actually sent by Sheila Ime, or were they trying to get me to there on purpose?
they had their own kind of purpose, but they did serve uh, Shila Ra,
You almost got it, Sheila Ime.
Sheila Ime. They did serve her, and they were a sort of guardians. But with the death of her, the death of her, they kind of had their own thing where it would have led off to like a sort of no, actually no, yeah, I think what was it?
It
Dude, your fucking story was fucking so.
was
I don't even remember. I think yeah, they had an organization of werewolves and were creatures and all that, and they would have actually led you to a tomb of an ancient of their ancient leader, their original uh, leader of the group and everything. And in that tomb, you would have found envy.
oh,
Oh.
Yeah,
interesting.
Wait,
and
was
I think
Envy the one that was stolen from the cave that we were just in?
no, greed was in there, and greed is still in there.
Oh. That stupid
Uh,
demon.
He was on the other side, probably with the body.
um,
Probably.
going back to your
Hypothetical.
backstory, Remy, I believe it was. I believe your. I don't want to say this is true because I don't remember, but I believe your dad was part of the were creatures.
Okay, that would make sense.
I believe. Yeah, I think it's starting to come back to me. Yeah, I believe. Yeah, I'm like 90% sure that was what it was.
All
But
right.
he would have been dead.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Um. Yeah, because I think I had like a thing where he's like, you would have asked about your father, I'm sure of, and then they would have told you like, yeah, he's dead. um. And then I think they would have given you like his armor or something. I don't remember.
Armor would be nice considering I didn't have any.
10.
Yeah, it was a rough one.
But yeah, so what was the other one? What were y'all saying? The but yeah, that's oh yeah. But yeah, greed was in there. If you would have gone into that little crevice of, you would have had to gone underwater
Mm-hmm.
and made constitution checks, or because it was going to be like a long, cramped space. It was going to be very claustrophobic and there was only one pocket of air, and you would have had to like gone in there and then just kept on going.
Gotcha.
That was my plan.
And we could have avoided a fight, maybe.
Maybe, but then again, the portal would have been open still.
That is true. That is true.
But yeah, so that was. I think that's everything. I don't remember. I don't know if you guys have any more questions.
I think
Um,
that covered a
A lot
lot
of
of it.
lot of my notes is just the random things that I ask.
Mhm.
I don't.
Like diseases and everything.
I don't think I have anything else.
Yeah, I feel like that was most of it. I'm sure questions will come up, but for the most part, we've
Out of
discussed
all.
for each other.
Remy, why do you
Oh my
suddenly sound like you're congested?
I'm hanging upside down off my bed.
Yeah. Oh, Erolipsis.
Yeah.
You're a group of friends. Um, what's it called? It would have been. I would have wanted to like had a little bit more time with you and them to build a
Yeah.
relationship.
Mhm.
But, and then I also would have ended it to where, if you guys were to, try to go forth and try to take out the Smiling Man or the Faceless Court because they're evil, whatever. They would have gotten in your way, and they would have been like, no, true to the ground, kind of thing.
Gotcha.
By the way, Remy,
Hmm?
Rem,
Yeah.
all of the things that you rolled on Roll20 just came back.
Yep.
Yeah.
It came back a while ago.
I just noticed.
Yeah. It's all there. It's all been recorded.
Yep. So I know you're lying about some of your roles here, sir.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't. I was pretty honest there.
Yep, double ones. Double ones.
I said I got double ones, and then I rolled my inspiration after that.
What a liar.
What a liar. What a liar. Ha. Well, that was a lot of questions answered and a lot of things explained.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for your next game, Jester.
I'm really looking forward to it. So when do you think that's gonna start?
5 more months.
Gotcha.
That's reasonable, yeah.
Okay. And then are we just gonna be playing Troops Minions until you're ready?
Yeah. I guess we can do that.
That and Strahd.
Yeah. So I mean, Ryle, there you go. You get every week until Jester's ready.
Not what I was asking. I was just asking more D&D in my veins.
I don't know what you just said.
Something
That's not
about
what it was. That's not the purpose of my question. The purpose of my question was just like, hey, can I have more D&D in my veins, please?
I mean, I wanted to do bi-weekly sessions, but
But Remy sucks.
it wasn't just
I
Remy.
I don't suck. No.
You suck, Remy.
Meh.
He
Come
sucks.
here, boy.
Oh my god.
No.
So
Good
yeah,
stuff.
now I can finally put this world up onto the shelf and probably never touch it again.
Thank you very much. It was really fun while it lasted.
It was.
Don't
It
lie to me.
was.
No, it was.
Don't lie to me.
I was just like I see D&D memes because I follow D&D pages on Instagram, and I've seen memes where it's like I think there was one meme where it was like, be careful, it was like a mom talking to her daughter. It was like, be careful, guys only want one thing nowadays. And it was like um the guy was like, no, I just want someone else to DM so that I can be a player for once. And I just think it's cool that like we're all sort of DMs. We're not all just, players all the time. I don't know. That's really random, but
I
I think
still
that's
need
cool.
a DM for y'all.
I'm looking forward
Yeah,
to that.
yes, you do.
Do you know when you're
I'm looking forward to it too.
Do you know when that's gonna start?
As soon as I don't have all these campaigns going on.
Gotcha.
Which will be never then.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, right? You have to be patient with me because I've got a bit of a problem.
Yes.
I've
think
I've
also-
gotten myself into a new homebrew campaign with another group. But I'm planning to take a break after that one, and for that break, I could do a game for y'all.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Michelle, I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's beautiful.
That's that would have been you would have had to fight for Gluttony.
Gluttony was the one in the cave?
No, Gluttony was in the mansion.
The mansion?
Yeah.
What mansion?
The one Aurelion never told you guys about.
This bitch.
Wait, what mansion?
The location that they gave you came to a small like hamlet, and with that,
Oh,
there would
okay.
have been there would have been they would have been very like not I guess depressed, just like dark and everything. They're like, oh, it's because the masters, they've died or whatever, and
Well,
the
we were
husband,
we were about to go there.
yeah, the husband killed the family or whatever because of something he dug up, and yeah,
Oh.
that would have been something you would have. I would have loved to play that one with you because it was mainly just scariness.
Yeah.
You would have been in here. Uh, where is it?
Oh boy. That looks
Right there.
wow.
And
Wait,
just
I'm
and just imagine going through
I'm
the hallways right here, right here.
Yeah.
logging back in.
You would have seen a lot of ghosts and fought a lot of ghosts
Oh,
That's
and shadows.
that's fun.
terrifying.
And then in the basement right here, you would have fought the gluttony, which would have been the husband.
Oh. Interesting.
That would have been fun. Just fighting that thing.
That was human and it turned into that?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Lovely. Alrighty. Well, folks, I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed, I think.
Weakling.
I am weak, this is true, but because I'm weak, I will grow strong.
Nope, you're gonna stay weak.
No, that's not how it works.
For context, Remy, that's what I sent you a screenshot.
I see it.
Yeah, so that's ugly.
Alrighty, I'm gonna. I think we can call that a video, I guess.
Yep, I can end that here. I just said I just called it Eloris, wrapping it all up.
All right. And I'm going to delete the game now.
Alrighty. Goodbye.
Good night, Remy. Thank you,
Oh,
Jester, for this campaign.
yeah.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Deleting the
Sure
game
do.
when I still have my cotton balls and honey wax to Robin.